What's up, guys? My name's KhaoticK, back at you guys with a little one today. We're coming at you with sort of a new substance review. Well, it is. So as you can tell by the title, this looks familiar to my previous 6AP Benzofury review video. I had to rename that to 5APB because it was determined and found that actually it was 5APB. So yeah, it took me a while to realize that. And then I was like, okay, yeah. Gotta backtrack a little bit. So, I waited until I found real 6APB. And, oh yes, I could definitely tell both were different. Oh yeah. The big difference with that being 5APB was more rolly. 6APB is definitely a lot more MDA-like. And it lasts a little longer. So we're going to get into that. And I'm going to be a little more, accurate with my substance review, as this one will be about 6APB and legit 6APB. So, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Hope you guys are stay lifted. Hope you guys are smoking up or high on something. So let's get into it. So yeah, I'd recently obtained this. It was actually basically exactly a year after I obtained 5APB, thinking it was 6APB. I'm glad it wasn't, because 5APB is a lot better than the 6APB in my opinion. It was a lot more rolly, which is where I, have a fascination in. Yeah, that's my go-to when a drug is more rolly, right? But 6ABB, yeah, it reminded me exactly of fucking MDA. Almost exactly like MDA. I'm like, this is like literally almost exactly like it. What I didn't like, though, is that it gave a come down, right? And almost like I did a roll, but like, it wasn't really a roll. Like, it was more of like a high, meaning like you trip more than you roll when you're on 6APB, which is nice when you combine with something, but I was expecting more. I was expecting like it to be like 5APB was. I was expecting it to be like 5MAPB. Even 5APB was more similar to 5MAPB, where it was just a lot more rolly. 5MAPB is almost exactly like MDMA too. So yeah, pretty fucking interesting. But hey, I'm not trying to bag on the substance. 6APB was definitely a good drug. So I'm gonna get into the positives of the experience. So it took about 2 hours to hit, so I don't know if that's a positive or not. So make sure you don't redose until you know you're high on it, at least the first dose, because it is, 8-hour length of a duration, so keep that in mind. But yeah, 6ABB, dude, I liked it, okay? It's got its roll potential probably in the higher dose range. I took like 100 milligrams of it, and it felt like 50 milligrams of MDA. Or 20 milligrams of MDA. Actually, more like 20 milligrams of MDA. Yeah. 50 milligrams of MDA would have you geeking, bro. But this shit, I noticed the jaw clenching wasn't as much as well, which is nice. And obviously that makes sense because amphetamine is the one that tends to give the jaw clenching the most. So that was absent. So I would say that the side effects are definitely less. I would also say that yeah, it felt a lot less draining on your brain. However, it still gave me a come down though. But keep in mind, I actually did it right after I did AMT. So that's probably why. So don't take two serotonin releasing compounds or ones that act on it and, like together like that. You don't want to take it right after the other, because if you do, again, you might have a come down. So keep that in mind. But I would say it felt cool, it felt nice, okay? I didn't like how it gave me a come down, but hey, it's just because I'm not really with that shit anymore. It almost reminded me of MDMA, but I would say the come down lasted maybe a few days, bro. Yeah, not even a whole week. I wouldn't even think, because nowadays I'm tip-top shape with my supplements, bro. You got to make sure you're in that supplement game, and that just means taking 5-HTB or L-tyrosine, bro. Both of those replenish your serotonin and dopamine, which most of all drugs really affect and drain those two neurotransmitters. So it makes sense to keep those in line. Also, taking ashwagandha, something that acts on the GABA system, because some of these drugs do fuck with your GABA system as well. But yeah, so staying in health is definitely the best option if you don't want to have a long-term come down from any drug. But yeah, so I would say I bounced back relatively quickly. I would say that I don't know why, but with 5APB and 6APB, I swear with the 5APB, I don't really remember a come down. The 6APB, I had a come down, and I think it's because it lasts longer. I don't know why, but it does something where it lasts longer, and it must drain your brain more. I don't know, man. I'm just a theorist. But yeah, so anyways, it was still a fun drug, okay? I didn't really feel bad at all. Like, I didn't feel any neurotoxicity. Compared to MDA felt a lot more dirty, bro. Like, it's sass. Like, sass is really fucking dirty feeling, but this wasn't dirty feeling at all. I was actually surprised that the come up didn't make me anxietal or anything. Like, I wasn't even scared at all. I was like, whoa, this is the most comfortable come up ever, man. So, in that regard, I like that Benzofury. So, but if you're trying to get the MDMA, like, rolly, you're better off just taking MDA even, bro. But, yeah, just don't go into this thinking you're going to get exactly the same experience. But I would say if you're comparing it to MDA, you would be pretty fucking surprised. It's almost exactly like it. Minus all of the fucking weird feelings that you get on it. Like, just anxiety is, like, lesser on the Benzofury drugs, I think, in my opinion. 5-MAPB was a lot fucking more sedating than MDMA. Like, a lot more stony, a lot less anxietal. So, yeah, there's something there with that. But compared to 5-APB, which is what I'm going to compare it to because it's relatively the same, right? But pretty interesting how 5-APB was supposed to be like MDA as well, but that one was actually a lot more rolly. So I would say if you're going for the MDA kind of like, but you also want like the roll, go for 5-APB. If you want the more, if you want like exactly the same as MDA, like in every single way, 6-APB is the way to go. So it really depends. Like if you're trying to go for the rolly one or you're trying to go for the more trippy one, that's really what it comes down to. So what it comes down to for me, I like the more dreamy, rolly, like 5-APB, give me a fucking goddamn experience. 6-APB was kind of like, I guess you have to push it a lot more. Again, you know, don't quote me, but it was probably because I did the AMT, bro. That shit drained my body already. So yeah, I have yet to take a proper dose of 6-APB where I'm rolling tits. I don't think it's going to happen because 5-APB, like I said, it was already right there at 100 milligrams. And I took 100 milligrams of 6-APB and I realized I needed at least 150 probably. Meaning, yeah, you just need a lot more, which means that 6-APB, in my opinion, yeah, it's weaker than 5-APB, which is okay. It's okay. But I would say 5-APB is definitely a lot better. And unfortunately, I don't have any more of it, but hopefully I get some more soon. But yeah, other than that, really, Benzofury, 6-APB, classic kind of drug there. I don't know really how long it's been around, but I did know, you know, it was synthesized, I think, in the early 80s, right? Basically as an MDA and MDMA analog alternative, right? And it was, you know, formulated by some researchers there. I forget the name of the guy, but unfortunately, yeah. Pretty interesting studies, I'm sure they did. Yeah, they ultimately were trying to find something similar that didn't have the neurotoxic metabolite or the same neurotoxicity. However, you know, you kind of switch one drug for the other. Both have their potentials in harm. So, yeah, you know, same harm reduction as, you know, any other MDMA-like analog. Not even that, just anything like MDMA, like AMT even, that's a fucking tryptamine, but it's very similar to MDMA. You got to be really careful about how often you're doing it. You got to be mindful. Be careful. Honestly, yeah, you already know about this stuff, so, but I'm going to keep preaching it. But yeah, anyways, again, 6-APB, I would give it an 8 out of 10. 5-APB would be a 9 out of 10. 5-MAPB is a 10 out of 10. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. But yeah, you know, I really want to try 6-MAPB. I don't know when I'm going to try that. Hopefully that's soon, but that's kind of like really rare for me. That's very obscure. I could only locate 6-APB, so who knows? Maybe one day, but so far I've done 3 Benzofury. Actually, yeah, 3 Benzofury. And then I did 4 fluorinated amphetamine analogs, 4-FEA and 4-FMA, 4-FA, and oh man, these drugs, bro. Oh my God. They got me sounding like a tweeter, man. But yeah, so 6-APB, leave it down in the comments if you guys have ever tried it, what you guys felt, how you guys felt, if you guys kind of, you know, have some similarities with my experience, you know, where it's just not as strong as you expected maybe, or, you know, I mean, obviously it's not going to be as strong as MDMA. That's not the intention, but again, even compared to MDA, it just, you know, definitely is kind of like it's almost like a knockoff, obviously, but honestly, it has its very good positives. It's a very good experience. I believe I have to take almost 200 milligrams of that shit, which is ridiculous, but that's because it's less potent by weight. It has to be, bro, because 5-APB had me rolling, bro, at 100 milligrams or less. So, yeah. But hey, 6-APB, it felt good, very dreamlike. It's also very tactile. It's going to leave you tripping. It's an 8-hour experience. Don't plan anything the next day, and it should be smooth sailing. So, but yeah, leave it down in the comments if you guys agree with my experience here. Yeah, anyways, I hope you guys are stay high, stay lifted. Stay tuned for the next one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.